Alright, we are live. Greetings, fellow traders. Let me get this tweeted out here so everybody can join in. 1 second. Make sure the sound's coming through okay. Let me, good. Awesome. Alright, let me get this tweeted out here. 1 sec. Good. Alright, well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. It's Thursday. It was kind of a grindy Thursday, but it is what it is. So today we're going to be talking, finishing up our conversation here on day trading key levels. And today we're going to be talking about zones. Okay, so primarily we're going to be talking about congestion zones. Before we get started, though, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. All right, awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to check and see where we left off in the market today, and then we're going to take a look at the futures and see what they're up to tonight and what they may be setting up to into tomorrow. And then we're going to take a look at the topic, and then we'll go through questions and chart requests. So let's get started. All right, so SPX, the S&P 500. So monthly chart. Hanging in there, right? So it's turned green again, up 27 points today. So inside month so far, as October is kind of showing its hands a little bit here. Weekly chart, again, nice push here overall. A lot of this is from the gaps, but a good push so far here out of the corrective channel off of the hammer move on the weekly chart. Keep in mind too that we are still over this this cloud canyon here, so there is some gravity effect that's going on. But we'll continue to monitor that as we go forward into the election season here. So pretty interesting stuff. So today's move was kind of felt kind of toppy a little bit, but they are pushing the futures up a little bit after hours. So we'll see how that holds. Today was kind of an interesting day, right? Because we had an inside day yesterday, which is really going to be some key levels, and we gapped above it. Now, a lot of times if we gap above, right, and we really push, right, that's a super duper bullish day. Except today we just kind of gapped and chopped. There was one opportunity where they tried to fade the gap today, and it didn't quite get filled. So it leaves a little bit of an open gap here on the daily chart. Of course, we have this big open gap here on the daily. But the longer we stay above this open gap, right, the more it kind of stays in place, right? We've seen that a lot recently, right? We got open gaps down here, open gaps down here, open gaps down here, right? So the longer you stay above it, right, the more it kind of stays in place. Now, we'll see how that goes, right? We'll see how that goes into tomorrow. And so far, you know, it's kind of a low volume day too, and also a narrow range. So hopefully we'll get some action tomorrow. Kind of the theme of the week has been low volume, especially on the S&P futures, which we'll take a look at in a little bit. Let's take a look at the intraday price action. Look at that. Oh, look how grindy that was today. That was a tough day today. But we use some key levels. We actually use zones, particularly support resistance zones. And we're going to kind of touch on that a little bit here today. But mostly we're going to talk about congestion zones. But we knew going into today that we were between two zones, and we knew it was probably going to be tight. And if we were going to get any major movement, it was probably going to be the downside if those levels triggered, which they didn't. Right. So here's the one attempt here to fade the gap. We were in on this one here. We got a nice move off of it, but didn't quite fade. And then they bounced off of the geometric line, which we'll look at in a little bit here. So basically just kind of a grindy day here, narrow range, and it kind of is what it is. These are the levels here that we provide to our members before each market opens. So you can see we basically just kind of bounced off of the R2 level here before filling the gap and kind of worked our way up here and never even quite got to the next level above. So let's take a look at the futures and see what they're up to here this evening. We'll also take a look at what we looked at here today. So our supply and resistance zones, right, going into the open here today. As you guys know, I tweet these out in the morning just so you can kind of take a look at it and see what we're looking at in the group here. Kind of when we came into the open here, right, we had a pretty decent push yesterday, but we dropped down right off of this resistance zone right here. So we had a couple key levels, right? We've been talking about key levels all week that we were focusing on. One was the scene of the breakdown from the other day, right? The stimulus tweet. Right, so that left us a key scene in the breakdown right here, and look at that. Overnight on the futures around 3 a.m., we dropped down. We hit the signal zone. We dropped off of that to test that this area right here, this 3420, 3421 area, and you can see that formed a zone, right? So this formed like a pretty big congestion zone right here, right? So those zones become important levels. So tonight, and then through the day, it was just, we got into the zone right here. We got a nice move. So again, that was a key level. That was the first target on the way down. We also had the geometric line, and I was like, okay, if we can break and close below here with any sort of volume, right, then we should get to at least fill the gap, which we didn't, and because we didn't have the confirmation or the volume on that one. And then there we have this signal zone below, and then the thought was, the reason that we were looking at chop is because we were between these two zones, and if we break down below this zone, then we got a little bit of room to go down below. Never happened. happen, right? So we ended up chopping here and kind of getting stuck in this range right here. And we said basically, we're like, okay, it needs a lot of energy and volume, right, to get above it, during the day. But they wait until after hours, until there's no real bears there fighting along, and they just push it over the zones here after hours and kind of drifted it up here. So a big resistance zone above here. So we're going to see how that goes going into tomorrow. Let's get some geometric lines on this one going into tonight. Let's see how they hold it up right here. We got a nice pop here off the open, right? Nice little retrace, give a pop off of that one, and now it's just kind of triangulating right here. So let's just, just kind of see, how that holds a little bit. This is not really. This is just kind of a short-term level right here. But let's see how this geometric level holds going into tonight, and what they'll have in store for Friday tomorrow. So keep in mind, guys, tomorrow is Friday. Be aware that if you're trading weekly options, right, tomorrow is expiration day. So keep that in mind too. A lot of times we like to trade next week's options, right, because they're we have a little bit more theta, we got a little more time in them. But if you can catch a nice momentum move, Friday is always great for an intraday, lotto-ish type trade, for a good quick momentum move. So that's the fun part about Friday. So we'll see what they have in store for that. But also keep in mind too, you don't want to get assigned over the weekend. So that's another reason too. If you're just day trading, right, just make sure you close those out if that's not part of your trading plan. So cool stuff there. All right. So let's get into the topic here. Let's wrap up this week's conversation here on day trading key levels. So today we're going to be talking about those zones. So what is a congestion zone? A congestion zone is an area where price spends a lot of time, right? And so those areas where price spends a lot of time also tends to get a bunch of volume in there. And so there's a lot of interest in those areas, and those zones actually end up becoming very good levels of potential support and resistance. They become key levels. Let's take a look at some examples. So let's go to AMD, okay? AMD is a fun one to trade, of course. But let's take a look here and let's just go over the last couple days and see where we got some congestion, right? And we've talked about this a little bit before. But here on these intraday timeframes, you can see on the way up here, see we got like all kind of clustered in here, right? That's a zone, right? So that creates a congestion zone. And you can see the next day, we got all clustered in that very area again, right? So it's helpful sometimes to just take a nice rectangle here and kind of go over that zone or go over those two zones, however you want to do it right there, and kind of stretch those out. And you can see how interesting those levels actually held up, right? So within 2 days today on the down move off of AMD, look where we found support right off of those congestion zones. Yesterday, and we bounced off it here again, right? And today, right? So we had a nice push down here, right? And we actually had a nice congestion zone right here going into today. We had a minor level right here that was where some major volume, and look where we did. So when we pushed down today, we got to the bottom of the zone area, and we bounced off of it for a nice rally intraday on AMD. And you can see this stuff on anything, right? So it happens all over the place, right? So where price likes to spend a lot of time, oftentimes those areas become very, very important areas of potential support resistance. So here's the SPY, right? Just a couple days ago, a lot of congestion in this area, right? So you can stretch that out for a level, right? And you can see here the next day we pushed down and look where we bounced. We bounced over that congestion area, and we got a nice move up until the crazy tweet, right? And then we got that going on, right? Same thing. That level actually still continued to hold right here because there wasn't a lot of volume through that area, and that actually held yesterday for a nice bounce to the upside. Now we've got some zones going into tomorrow. Today, almost the entire day was a zone, right? So we're going to kind of stretch that out in tomorrow and see how that holds as a potential level of support if it doesn't drop down below it here overnight. Okay, so really cool stuff. So definitely try to play around with those and look for some areas that make sense for you. And hopefully you guys find that helpful. And at this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window, and we'll get through as many as we can and try to wrap up as early as possible so everybody can get a good night's sleep and have another awesome trading day tomorrow. So good stuff. So let's take a look. So give me 1 second here. So Shirley sent in a few in via email. Again, everybody, we really appreciate you keeping Shirley in your thoughts and prayers. Continue to do better, and it really helps to know that she has support out there from everybody out here too. So let's take a look and see what ideas she has here today. She's got Dollar General. So let's take a look at the DG and see how that's looking here today. So DG, okay, so nice gap up over the inside day. This is kind of what we were hoping for, on the market itself, right? So we got a nice gap over the inside day. It doesn't always do it, right? It couldn't quite fade it, but we got some nice momentum off of that here today. It was a little bit low volume, but definitely working on a nice uptrend here, and still continuing to be bullish until proven otherwise, right? So we got this nice uptrend right here. It's holding the 80 MA, so let's see how it holds. Again, it left a little bit of a gap, so just kind of keep an eye on that with the lower volume today. Goldman Sachs. Okay, guys, so we've been talking about it for a while. These banks have earnings coming up pretty soon, so So they're starting to, a lot of them just been doing a straight up earnings run here. And Goldman Sachs is no exception here today with an inside day yesterday, got back into that range and popped out of here and got over the cloud today. So ended up giving a nice move, right? After it did one retrace. Let's take a look if it was off of a any sort of zone level. Yeah, kind of. We had a nice zone right here, right? And we kind of stayed above it a little bit, dripped below, tagged that level, and then worked its way up. So some pretty cool stuff there. Nice close on that one. Volume's a little bit, but again, keep an eye on the banks as they continue to get a little bit strong here before earnings. So good stuff there. Let's take a look at ADP. All right, so ADP. Okay, this is a tough one to trade, right? This is a tricky name, right? So you can see, for a while, it really just can chop and grind and chop and grind. It does seem to be breaking out here pretty nicely. It got out of these levels, gap filled, it gapped over its inside day. Just watch out for this 200-day moving average on ADP, potential resistance in that area, and then NVTA. This has been an interesting one recently. So NVTA with a nice continuation pop here. It had a good little geometric line here, a nice little kind of sideways action pennant here to the ADMA, and then really started to break out of that range right there. Very, very nice move on that one. Let's see if we continue to get some upside on it. But again, that was a good move here off of this consolidation, right? Compression, expansion, right? And I love how it was trending up here with the ADMA before that. So great find, Shirley. Really appreciate it. Let's say ZEK, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. Let's take a look at Intel. So Intel started to get into the gap here pretty well today. So nice move on Intel. We're gonna put that on the bullish radar. It's been really been perking up recently. So let me get that on the radar here too. Again, the semiconductors like Nvidia and AMD were not super duper strong there today, but a couple of the bigger names, right, the behemoths like Intel, were actually doing pretty well. So that's a good one to keep an eye on there. Very, very nice move into the gap. Let's see if I can continue. AMD, of course, is the opposite today. Again, harsh pullback off of its bump line, which we mentioned in the Twitter. Right, so it basically was here. Let's just kind of go here and show you what I was talking about right here. Right? So here's your original bump line right here, which we dropped below. It looked like we were going to hit this bump line. We actually had another bump line up here, which it finally broke down to get here. And now we're just kind of coming up and riding this this trend line right here from below, which is dangerous, right? It's a little bit risky, right? We've had an up day, down day, up day, down day, up day, down day. Really, really tough stuff to swing. Right, so but it's it's kind of it's got a little more volume today. It's kind of getting a little bit interesting here. So let's see how that holds going into tomorrow. We might have an update tomorrow if that trend continues. FCell. So let's take a look here. So FCell with a nice gap up. And it's kind of found a little bit of resistance at these prior pivot levels here. Let's take a look at the candlestick chart right here. And big upper shadow here at the 50-day moving average. Again, the kind of a geometric line right here that it struggled with and kind of worked its way down. So kind of keep an eye on FCell today. A lot of these names, these solar names, we talked about it last night. A lot of them were super duper strong, and a lot of them pulled back today, right? So just definitely something to keep an eye on there on the potential short radar if it wants some downside follow through on that. So I'm gonna put that on the bearish radar for tomorrow. Just something to keep an eye on if it wants to work its way below today's lows and try to fill that gap below. So definitely something to keep an eye on there. And then WFC. So we actually had a member who traded this one today and did really well on it. So nice inside day up on that one. Again, sometimes these banks can go slow, like the Bank of America's, things like that. But once they move, right? So it held its ADMA and just kind of drifted up nicely here after its initial pullbacks this morning. So good stuff there. Good. Appreciate it, ZK. Rosalind, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing well. Let's take a look at pins. Yeah, so pins had a really super duper choppy day today. Double inside day on pins. So that's definitely one to keep an eye on for tomorrow. Let's see here. So pins, double inside day. Okay, so we got pins on the radar right there. So it's definitely one to keep an eye on. See if it breaks out those levels. It's getting really tight. Like we looked at earlier, right? That NVTA. It's getting really tight here at the ADMA. Let's see if it can break out of that double inside day range and really start to give a move. So that could be very, very interesting. Nice find on that one. Let's take a look at TGT. TGT. Okay, so a lot of these names that gapped up over the inside day today kind of came back in the range and didn't bounce, right? So it is working its way up here a little bit. The trend is still up, right? And let's see how it's looking here on the intraday. So it didn't really give a push out of its range. It had a big pre-market level right there that it couldn't get above. A lot of upper shadows here at the 15 orb, and it kind of worked its way back down and just kind of hung out there for a little bit. So let's see if we can get some more strength. I do like how it did fill the gap today. So maybe if we can get some flow into retail, that'll start moving again. Baba, that's a great one to ask about. So Baba's been really, really interesting right here. I got a lot of numbers up here, but it really came up to our 1.618 retrace extension from the lows of the of this flag, right, of this symmetrical triangle right here to the highs of it. and then that's the extension off of it. So we're right off of that level right there. Let's see how that holds going into tomorrow, if it really wants to continue to be bullish on it. Again, there's been some pretty strong China names out there, so that's one of them. Yeah, new all-time highs, so we got that there too. So that's good. Whoop, whoop. Good stuff. Thanks, Roslyn. Appreciate it. Valis, what's going on? Good to see you. Let's take a look. We got XOM. Yeah, so XOM had a great day today, guys. Oil is definitely on the radar. We talked about it recently, how they were downtrending for such a long time, right? And they finally, basically capitulated in this area right here. We got some good volume on that, and then finally broke out on a lot of these names today. So XOM's looking good. We've got Oxy on the radar, those names too. So and the XLU was really good as well, right? So a nice strength on the utilities, right? So it's a good inside day up. This is a huge move up right here. It's kind of reminiscent of its recent move before the Corona crash. Right there, the utilities were going nuts, right? So this is looking pretty good right here. I like how they're breaking out of these levels. So definitely something to keep an eye on going into tomorrow, right? They're not huge momentum traders, but they can be. They can certainly pay dividends. So anyway, good stuff. Angel, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, let's take a look at Walmart. So Walmart getting really, really tight too. Again, we talked about this compressed range right here. Again, I'd like to see some volume out of this compression right here. I like how it's the 80 MA, so it's getting really tight right now. Maybe it's gearing up for a news event or something like that. Got really tight here and went. It's getting really, really tight here. Let's see if it can go again. So great find on that one. Suyag, what's going on? CRM. Yeah, so again, great day yesterday on CRM. It gave a gift horse gap up today and kind of pushed its way back down, right? So no shame after a big day like yesterday if you swing that long to take profits at the open, because they'll wipe it out as quick as they can, and then they chopped it just to burn any premium for anyone who's trying to hold the weeklies. So good stuff there. And then Netflix, let's take a look. So Netflix. So Netflix with an inside day, right? Ended up being red. I mean, it was like green, red, green, red, green, red, inside day. So let's see how that holds right here. The last big push up right here off of an inside day actually worked its way down. So a little bit of caution off of that one. It does have earnings coming up, so if it breaks above it, maybe we'll get a little bit of an earnings run, a little bit more of an earnings run on Netflix. And then Tesla. So Tesla, again, a big gap up there today, and this one actually faded the gap. This is like a good gap fade play today. Good push down at the open. Nice retrace here for a move down, and then this retrace here is a perfect one, right, for another downside move right off the 618 there. So your upper shadows off of that one, and it worked its way down into the day. Again, Tesla, it does its thing, but it is holding its daily cloud right here, which is what we were looking for. So good stuff there. Ankit, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, let's take a look at CVX. Like we said, the oil names have been really strong. CVX not as strong as XOM today, but it did surpass XOM as the biggest oil company in America. So big move, big deal with that right there. Not as much volume as the other ones here, but definitely starting to work its way up here on the oil names. So they were one of the stronger sectors today. Let's see if they can get some follow through. Also, the pot sectors were strong from yesterday. It's rare to see pot follow through, so tomorrow will be interesting if there's actually a third day on it. Dow with an inside day here, kind of working on a little mini bull flag, so let's see how that goes. DKNG, again, super duper on the radar here on DKNG. Big impulsive move up, right? So, very, very possible, right? You had your wave 1 here, kind of ABC wave 2, possible wave 3, 4, 5. So it's kind of in this corrective pattern right here. We were hoping it would close yesterday green above the 618 to try to make a move back up to fill the gap. Now it's kind of bouncing off the 786. These are not my favorite levels to trade off of, but really I'm just kind of keeping an eye here to see if it holds this 100% of the range right here. Again, this thing gets affected a lot anytime a professional football team, whatever, anybody gets diagnosed or gets tested positive for COVID, right? So we got that going on. Okay, Boeing, very, very interesting one, right? So Boeing's, sorry, I bounced around Boeing, I went back and forth on that one, but Boeing, inside day yesterday, right, closed with a hammer right here. So it's got a couple big areas here of interest, right? We got this open gap down here, right? And we got this the scene of the breakdown right here. Now, if it really wanted to take out that scene of the breakdown, it probably would have done it a little bit faster. But it's holding the 50-day moving average right now. On the intraday time frame, right, we really want to see, if it can, how it handles these levels right here. So let's see. So from the scene of the breakdown here, right to the lows of the day, right? We're right at the 618 retrace here after hours. So this is kind of a very, very big level. Let's see how that holds going into tomorrow. Obviously, the future is super duper bullish. This thing might already work its way up pretty high to get to those levels, but definitely one to keep on the radar going into tomorrow. If that fails, right, the open gap becomes the next target below. Right, next major target below. So we got that going on. Netflix, of course, inside day. So we see how that holds right there. It is over the cloud. The 80 MA is pointing right up right there. Low volume. Let's see if we can break out of those levels going into tomorrow. And then ZI. ZI with a nasty engulfing candle here today. So inside day down. Low volume, but that's a really nasty candle on that one. So a little bit of caution there. Definitely doesn't look like a pause candle, right? So just a little bit of caution. Last time I did a big one right here was obviously off of earnings, but just got to be careful. Here's one right here off of an inside day that kind of pushed down pretty hard the next day. So something to keep an eye on there. And good stuff. Good stuff. Thanks, Angel. What's going on? So greetings from New York. All right. Your chat was already shared your chat. Awesome, man. I really appreciate that. Thanks so much. Alexander, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Oh yeah, GME. Goodness gracious, what a move today on this one. So again, this is a stock that forever we were thinking was just going to go bankrupt, right? Because how does a company like this stay? It just reminds me so much of Blockbuster back in the day, right? Who goes out and buys video games anymore? Other than downloading them. Like most computers don't even have drives anymore for it, right? And then consoles, you just order it on Amazon, right, or on eBay. But apparently Microsoft, there's some sort of affiliation with them, so we got that going on here. Definitely broke out of this this bullish flag right here today and really started to work its way back up. So big news, got halted today on that news, right, and then pushed up really high, and it's up a little bit after hours here. So let's see if they get some follow through tomorrow. Again, tons of short interest on this thing. So the real question is when are the bears really going to give up, right? So it really started to push into the gap here today. There's an open gap here on the daily. It's shown by a large candle here on the weekly chart, but a big gap down here. And so let's see how it holds out. Again, the weekly chart still got a lot of levels above. It's got some work to do, but let's see how it holds up and how that short float goes if it starts to squeeze more folks out. So definitely something to keep an eye on there. Creighton, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Good evening. Let's take a look at MASI. Massey. So yeah, wow, this is a good one. Great shooting star candle yesterday with some volume, and this one actually pushed down below that level here and filled the gap and gave you some nice follow through on that one. So let's see how it holds right now. It's coming close to the ADMA, so let's see if that holds. NetEase. Okay, so here's another one too. This is a Chinese name, a little bit tricky right here. It did hold the lows, so let's see if that can continue to hold and try to work its way back up over the cloud. I'd like to see it get over the ADMA on that one to see if we can get some more follow through on that. PayC. Tricky one to trade, but it is working its way up nicer here. Watch that out for a potential reversal spinning top. Pan W. Good push out there. It also could be a pause day. Pan W's looking interesting right here, Palo Alto. So kind of looking like a, almost like a bear flag right here. If you kind of stretch it out that way, it'd be more bear flaggish, right? Maybe bear pennant. So just kind of watch these levels right here, see how it holds. If you get, a volume breakdown below here, it might want, to test this 235 area. So a little bit of caution off of that one. Lulu. Some folks thinking, we might get a little bit of a holiday holiday rally on this one, right? Gifts and all that stuff. But you do have an open gap right here. That gap was defended here today as it pushed it down. So just see how it holds. See if you can get back over the 50-day moving average and kind of push in here and start testing those levels above. And then Costco. I'm forever bullish on Costco, but welcome to Costco. I love you. So we'll see how that goes here. It's got this up here, this right here. So it's definitely channeling up, for the most part. And let's just see if it can continue to go. Nice all-time high, 365, 1 year, right? Move. But anyway, continue to kind of plow its way up. It's been challenging on the day trade side, but again, dips have been viable on this thing almost like forever. So pretty cool stuff there. Nice find, great stuff, Creighton. Appreciate it, Angel. Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks so much. Good stuff. Oh, and it looks like you had one more in the next one there, so let's take a look at PODD. Not PODD. See how I was looking there. Yeah, PODD looking interesting there. A little bit low volume on this one, but a good push there today. So off of yesterday's nice candle. So good stuff. Nice follow through on that one today. Good stuff. Thanks so much, Crane. I really appreciate you tuning in. Gio, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for making it. Let's take a look and see what we got here. So we got SE. Okay, so SE, look at that. Still working its way up here. Fresh all-time highs and just still riding up that channel. So nice find on that one. LSPD. LSPD with a bit of a reversal there today. So not quite dark cloud cover. Just kind of see how those lows hold. Just make sure that they can defend those. Triple M. This is the heartbreaker of name right here. This is such a tough one to trade. Swing trade and day trades is blah. But, it tries to break out right here, and then blah, right? Trying again, watch out, So it's this is actually an old fib fan level right here, so it seems to be playing out okay. So just watch that as potential resistance on that one. IBM. Let's take a look. IBM, wow, yeah, what a big gap up on IBM today. Remember, we did talk about in the pre-market the pre-market session that we got to watch this level right here, right? It's a major pivot level, so we actually kind of reversed off of that there today. It did break above this one, it gave a little bit of a push here today, but most of it was done pre-market and after hours, so it was a little bit tough there. Again, once you have this type of move right here, unless you can get over there, right, it's just kind of blah, right? So a little bit tough on that one here. Let's see how it holds up. It ended up closing with a green candle, so let's just see if they can defend the gap on that one. NNOX. NNOX with a outside day today after an inside day, so kind of pulled back a little bit right here. Just watch these lows right here. Might want to come back and test the 80 man on that one. That's kind of a rough move on that one there today. And then V, unless there was something going on after hours that I didn't see. And then V, actually up a little bit after hours here too. Getting really, really tight, right? So we're getting a tight zone right here. Let's see if we can break out of here with some volume. Maybe try to get out of the cloud on this one. So again, this thing can chop for a while, as we've seen, and then once it breaks out, it can move. But don't be surprised if this thing chops for a while, at least until earnings or something like that. So something to keep an eye on there. And then AMD, awesome, Angel. I love the enthusiasm. Thanks so much. So AMD. Again, like we said earlier, right? It's got this big bump line here. It's been kind of riding up, below the other ways here. But if you kind of put a trend line on that, it does look like a little bit of a rising wedge type thing. So a little bit of caution right here. We get green, red, green, red, green, red. Maybe we'll have a green day tomorrow. Let's see if we can get above this and hold, and then maybe we can try to get out of the trend box there and give us a fresh trend line on it. So we'll see how that goes there. So Creighton, yeah. Awesome. Have an awesome evening. Yeah. Oh, it's the next Dxcm. Nice. Cool. Well, good stuff. Yeah. So Dxcm. So Dexcom, cool. Yeah, so the Dexcom was pretty wild for a while, right? Just gave this epic move up, and then let's see if PODD can do the same thing. That'd be great. And then AVGO, let's take a look. AVGO, nice. Yeah, good push here today on AVGO. AVGO is tricky, right? Sometimes it'll give us some moves, but I do love how it's breaking out of the triangle right here today with increased volume. So let's see if AVGO can get some upside follow through too. I'm gonna put that on the bullish radar for tomorrow. Let's see if that can give a move too. Again, the semis, the bigger kind of semiconductor names have been pretty decent here today. It's just like the AMD and the Nvidia has been a little bit rough. So good stuff there. Thanks, man. Thanks so much, Jason. What's going on? Yeah, SPY. Let's take a look. So SPY again. We gapped over the inside day, right? And we gapped over the inside day with kind of a low volume, narrow range day today, right? So it was all about trying to fade that gap today, but they just couldn't do it. So let's see if that holds. Tomorrow's Friday. Futures are up here after hours, so let's see if they can continue to hold that trend and get this thing going. What I really like about the SPY is that you can't really see it here too well. Let me get a clean chart up there on this one. So you can't really see it too well, but this level here was really, really important to clear. This double upper shadow right here on the weekly chart, and we closed above that here today. So that's an important level to continue to defend. If we can defend that, then we can potentially get more constructive on this one. So we'll see how that goes. Again, it looks like that we're working on an impulsive move out here. This could be 1, 2, and we could be working on a larger wave 3 now. We just have to see how that holds. Again, it's really, really an interesting day today. Let's see what they have in store for us tomorrow. So good stuff there. So good. And really appreciate it. And then Angel, yeah, Intel, I know, amazing stuff here. It's getting a good move right there and pushing into the gap. Let's see if we can continue to get some follow through on there and get a little bit of an earnings run out of it. And Tyler, what's going on? Thanks for 10. ADT. Okay, so ADT, interesting, right? So a little bit of a less expensive name right here, right? But we've got this trend line right here. It's trying to break out of it. We just need to see it confirm out of here with some volume, right? It got a little bit of volume off of the last earnings, so it kind of drifted down a lot here. Again, I want to see a breakout candle of some sort, just something with some volume and some strength here to show that it wants to at least maybe test the gap. So we got that going on. Let's do some action after hours. Not too much there. So good stuff, guys. Good. Well, awesome. I really appreciate everybody for tuning in this evening and for your chart requests and questions. It's been an interesting week. Low volume has kind of been the theme this week, so especially on the S&P futures. But we'll see what they have in store tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get some fun action for a Friday, and we'll see where they take us from there. Oh, yeah, Chewy. So let's take a look at that one. That's one of Buddy's favorite ones here. Chewy, looking okay, right? Still consolidating right here. I would like to have seen a little bit of a bigger candle here to get above that guy, but it's getting pretty tight right here. Let's see if it can kind of climb up this cloud and get out of there and at least retest some of those levels. So we'll see where that goes from there. But good stuff. Yeah, Angela, yeah, my pleasure. So good stuff, guys. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. We'll see you guys again Sunday night, which is the next market night coming up. So looking forward to that. We'll have a fresh topic for you. We might even have a special guest. So if any, we might be doing an Elliott Wave next week with Algo 382 with Paul. So definitely bring your questions for that one. It should be a fun one. So we might do a series on that next week. So it could be a good collaborative video then. So I hope everybody has a wonderful night. And if you get a chance, check out the links in the description. You check out our website and all that stuff. We put a newsletter out every weekend. It gets everybody nice and prepared for the week. And of course we go over all that in our private Twitter and Discord. So good stuff there. Also, if you're new here, definitely click subscribe on YouTube and be sure to hit the like button whether you're new here or not. That goes a long way. Even if you're watching the recording here, please hit the like button. It really does. Mean a lot. So, all right, guys. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. We'll catch you guys bright and early on the Good Morning Market Prep video. Stay healthy out there, and remember your risk first.